Welcome. It's your man, God of Dots, back with a special episode of the Audible. Maybe putting this into the rotation for those who are interested. Leave me a note, comment, something. Let's let me know if you're interested in NBA Fridays. I'm starting adding that to the rotation as I start to transition to be over here. What's going on, Spider? As I start to transition to be over here just a tad bit more than I am in other places. Like I said, I've been working on some stuff, man, and yeah, I got some stuff coming together. So, yeah, NBA Fridays over here. Maybe like I said, maybe I'm just giving it a test run, kind of see. I haven't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Hold on, let me kind of this is kind of just is bothering me right now. Hold on, let me kind of bring it down just a little bit. All right, yeah, there we go, just a little bit. All right. I've been keeping up with the season as intensely as I have with the NFL because hey, even though I love basketball, I love everything about it. Nothing, tops football for me. So as I'm wrapping up the season with the NFL stuff, I'm starting to watch a lot more NBA games, and there's some stuff going on as far as the NBA is concerned. Some certain storylines I wanted to kind of discuss, bring it to the forefront, and kind of see how this works. We're about 30 games into the season. You kind of have a pretty good idea of who's who and what's what. But, with the NBA more so than the NFL and even baseball to a degree, you kind of know who the cream of the crop is in those particular sports. With the NBA, things could change with an all-season move here, a trade here, an injury there. Basketball is just so different from the NFL. Year to year, certain teams will be in contention. Some, certain because they have certain players. But like I said, an injury here, a guy gets into a slump, has an off season, and we're having a totally different discussion about that team. And that's kind of how it goes with the NBA. It makes it much more exciting because I don't think at any point last year, especially at this point last season, I don't think anybody was penciling in. Let me just turn this because this is like really bothering me because I got like a rhymes in my head. Okay, stop that. Sorry about that. But I don't think any point last season, especially when we're talking about right after Christmas, the Christmas Day games, I don't think anybody was picking the Denver Nuggets as favorites to win the NBA title, which they did last season. And they're starting off strong this season. And we're gonna kind of talk about some of the major storylines, kind of like who's looking like championship material, who's not, and some possible moves that some teams may be making as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline. I think trade deadline is right around the middle, excuse me, around the middle of February. I expect some moves to be made, some names is being kind of tossed around, kind of discussed, feelers being put out there, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But as far as major storylines, as far as the NBA is concerned, I got to start off with the Ja Morant storyline. Ja Morant, who recently returned after a 25-game suspension, and boy, was he needed for the Memphis Grizzlies. It has been a rough start to the season for the Memphis Grizzlies, and rightfully so. When you're missing, not only your best player, but one of the best players in the NBA. What's going on here? Brother of certain age, what's going on, man? Hey, I'm just testing some stuff out here with the NBA stuff on Fridays. Like I said, I'm trying to incorporate some other stuff over here. Like I said, I want to start transitioning to be over here a little bit more than I am over there. You guys will get it tonight. But yeah. Ja Morant, major storyline starting out this season. Memphis Grizzlies struggled, without him. And, rightfully, like I said, rightfully so. He's not only their best player, clearly their best player, but is one of the best players in the NBA. And he's come back focused. It looks good, has looked good since he's come back. Memphis looks like a completely different team with him out on the court. It looks like the energy levels are up. That level of excitement that he brings to the game is being passed along to his teammates, and they just look like a completely different team now. Is it too little, too late? Is Memphis going to be able to make a run at probably one of the play-in spots? Who knows? Still a very talented team, even with some of the injuries that they had. If Ja continues to play like Ja is capable of playing, Memphis might be okay. They might be able to slide into like the 9 or 10 spot. And possibly let me look at the where I got it at. Excuse me, I got tabs and stuff, all kind of stuff open. But what's their current record? I don't want to get the line on them. Let's see where they at. Yeah, they're currently 10-20, 10 games under 500, but they've looked like a completely different team since Ja came back. Now, the questions I have with Ja going forward for the rest of the season, as you've already you think about skating, get rid of the one of the forces in Brooks? Nah, brother. I don't think it was a bad move by Brooks. Brooks, I like Dylan. I like Dylan Brooks, but yeah, you kind of had to do something to kind of hopefully Memphis had to do something to kind of shake up the culture there in there. It was too playful of a team, and I get it. Young team, you want them to feel free and stuff, but it just seemed like it was more into the entertainment side of the game and not necessarily focus on the X's and O's and winning. Um, like I said, Memphis, I like Dylan Brooks on the team, but you had to do something to kind of change up the culture. Yeah, and I like Desmond Bain also, and Dylan Brooks kind of talked his way out of Memphis, and like I said, the organization had to do something to kind of set the culture. You're not getting rid of Ja Morant. The NBA took care of that and sat him down. And it's already kind of people are watching his every move, watching his behavior. It's already, excuse me, already a report coming out. People were upset by his celebration dance and like he looked like he's doing guns. I was like, gee, I just hope John doesn't have a repeat performance of what he had last year, where his on-court behavior and off-court actions, lead to him getting suspended, losing money. I mean, he lost a lot of money by getting suspended because they cost him a position on the All NBA team, which would have kicked in like an extra, I want to say $30-something million of guaranteed money because he'd have qualified for the super max. But I mean, it was not to be, and like I said, I'm just concerned about Ja going forward. When he's on the court, he's a marvel to play. He's an exciting player. Um, but we'll see how the rest of the season kind of. Like I said, we're only about 30 games in, getting close to the halfway point. All-Star break is right around the corner, and I think Memphis is going to ride that wave. Ja is fresh. And I was surprised, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I was surprised first game back. I thought he was going to be a bit sluggish. Having not played competitive, NBA basketball in months, I thought he was going to be sluggish. It was going to take him a while to kind of get his game going, but he came in, showed he was focused, showed he had been putting in the time. He had been putting in the workouts in the gym, and he's looked fantastic since he's come back. The other big storyline so far the NBA season, as far as like dominating the headlines, the Draymond Green situation. For those who don't know, Draymond was suspended early in the season for a 5-game stretch. For some choke, let's call it what it is, UFC move and choking, putting a rear naked choke on Rudy Gobert unnecessarily, in my opinion. And he got 5 games. Comes back. Is playing for like another 4 or 5 games, maybe a little bit longer than that, not more than 10 games, and has another incident with Yusuf Nurkic, center for the Phoenix Suns. Claims he was just trying to get him off of him, but if you saw the play, you know this. Draymond, come on, dude. I can't even explain that away. And and I like Draymond on the court, but I can't explain that action. And right now, he's currently been suspended indefinitely. Now, with the update coming out on him, is that you have reports are coming out to saying he's into virtual counseling, virtual sessions, and they're saying they're going well, but it's no set timetable for him to kind of come back. I anticipate he'll be back before the end of next month. I think 10 to 15 games is a long enough suspension for him, but I'm concerned about will Draymond be able to make it through the rest of the season, because he's not going to change who he is on the court. He's not going to change how he acts on the court. He is a lightning rod for attention anytime he is on the court. And it is, it has cost the Golden State Warriors more so this season than any other seasons in the past. Like he's just um brothers, Draymond seems to either lost his scoring ability or lost his confidence. He used to be more of a scoring threat, but Draymond value for me was never the scoring. I think Draymond. I think a lot of people underrate how great of a facilitator he is in running the offense. Because when you really think about the Golden State Warriors when they were in their prime, and I'm not talking about the Durant years, but I'm talking about when they were in their prime. Draymond was orchestrating a lot of the offense, or getting guys shots, putting guys in the right spots. He was the quote unquote point forward for Golden State. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't think it's his ability to score. He's never been more than a what 10 to 12 points a game kind of guy. His thing was always defense, and on offense, setting guys up. Uh Well, I mean, brother, he wasn't necessarily a great shooter. Draymond has never been a great shooter. You can live. I can live with Draymond not being able to stroke even the open three. I can live with that because that's never really been a part of his game. His game has always been setting guys up and facilitating the offense, and he can do that. Um, very well. One of the best, one of the best forwards to kind of, be in that position as far as a point forward in recent memory. The offense was, you talk about Clay, you talk about Steph and the Splash Brothers, but Draymond was the guy that kind of made it all work. He was kind of that that glue that kind of kept it all together. And you saw last season, when he wasn't, really being effective in that role, how much it hurt Clay's game. Clay wasn't getting the shots that he was used to getting in years past, and you saw, especially in the playoffs, how much work Steph was having to do because he was having to kind of create and he was having to facilitate the offense, and it's part of the reason why the team went out and got Chris Paul to kind of take some of those playmaking pressures off of Steph in late games and take some of those playmaking responsibilities from Draymond. So, but Draymond, I said, I think he'll be back before the end of January. I don't know if he makes it through the rest of the season. I'm gonna be honest with you. Either he's going to get suspensions from Tex, or he's going to have another. It's just Draymond's nature. Draymond would have fit in back in the '80s with the Bad Boy Pistons. He would have fit right on in with that breed of guys. But I don't know if Draymond's going to make it through the season. Yeah, you're right. Andre Iguodala was a big part of that too, and he's going on and retired. Before, because I don't want to make this too long, because the NBA season is like we're only 30 games in, and this you kind of getting a feel for our teams are, but nothing's real solid. But I want to talk about the kind of like the budding MVP rivalry race that we have going on in the league. You have Joel Embiid, who right now is, in my opinion, is front runner for MVP based on the season that he's having. I thought, I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought Joel's game would take a hit with James Harden not being there to help facilitate and give him some of those easier buckets. But Maxey has done a great job, and the coaching staff there in Philadelphia has done a great job of putting Embiid in position to be as dominant as he is. The question you got to have with Embiid, it's the same question you have with him every season he is out there on the court. Can the dude stay healthy? Right now, I want to say he hasn't played since last week, nursing an ankle injury. If I can get 65, 70 games, well, give me 65. Give me 65 Embiid. I'll take that. And if he's healthy during the playoffs, I mean, it makes Philadelphia tough out right now. They're number 3 out there in the East, but right now, Embiid looking like he's ready to repeat as MVP. A lot of that's going to hinge on the team's success. Philadelphia, from the games that I've seen, they struggle against the better teams in the league, but go out there and handle business against the scrubs like you're supposed to. But we'll see as this playoff, this MVP race kind of heats up, and Yoke picking up right back where he left off. damn near averaging a triple double, and it's crazy when you think about a center um, averaging a triple double. You would, triple double is when you think about triple doubles, made more like guards get that kind of stuff. The LeBrons of the world, those small forward type guys. You have a center who is averaging again a triple double. And as much as I love Embiid, like I said, he's right now he's lead candidate. He's my favorite. But on a scale of 1 to 10, I would have Embiid as a 9.5, and Jokic it to me is a 9.4. It is that close. And they're clearly setting themselves up to be considered the best players in the league. And you got Giannis sitting there on the outside. To me, outside looking in, I don't think unless Milwaukee goes on a run for the ages, I don't see Giannis getting any real serious consideration for MVP if both of those guys are healthy. Embiid and Jokic just separating themselves from the rest of the league, and especially from the rest of the big men in the league with the stuff that they're able to do and the levels that they're playing at. Denver's right there, I think, number 2 in the playoff race as far as the standings are concerned out there in the West. And I would say this about the West. Excuse me, I've been talking all week. Y'all know me. But I would say this about the West. I'm kind of surprised. I'm not gonna lie to you. At this point of the season, I'm kind of surprised how well I'm kind of surprised how well Minnesota is playing. I watched them a couple times, and they kind of seem to figure out a way to win. I think they're one shot creator away from being a serious threat out there in the West. So would you put Tatum 3 in the run? Yeah, I would have to put Tatum as number 3 in the running, but I think to me it's a distant 3, brother. It's a distant 3. It's a distant 3 right now. Embiid and Jokic are head and shoulders above the rest of the league right now. It's when we're talking about this the individual play. I would have Tatum 3, and the only reason I would have Tatum 3 over a Giannis or SGA right now is because of the team's record. That's about the only edge I would give him over a Giannis or SGA, and SGA is playing phenomenal out there in Oklahoma City. But Boston right now, best record, and they're looking like it, but that's the only edge I would give right now to Tatum to have him number 3, because you can't have the guy best player on the team with the best record not be in the conversation. But to me it's a distant 3 right now. It's a 2-horse race unless Embiid get hurt or unless Jokic get hurt. You're looking at the MVP race being decided once again, another year decided by those 2 dudes. I mean, they're clearly head and shoulders above the rest of the players in the NBA. And I don't, like I said, the gap is widening. I don't think anybody's kind of closing that gap right now. Tatum's going to get some consideration for MVP if Boston ends up with the best record at the end of the season. But I mean, it's hard to look at Tatum and say, you having a better season than Jokic, you're having a better season than Embiid. Sorry, not sorry. And like I said, the only reason I'm giving him the nod over Giannis and SGA is because of the team's record. Because I think SGA, stat-wise, is having a much better season than Tatum, and Giannis is Giannis. But no slight to Tatum. Boston is doing their thing out there. I thought they were going to struggle a little bit incorporating Porzingis into the lineup, but it has been kind of a seamless transition. It has been a kind of a seamless transition when they got in Boston. I'm curious to see what this team kind of looks like after the All-Star break and that kind of stuff. Can they keep up this level of play the entire season? I don't know. But back to Minnesota, I don't want to deviate. I like what I'm seeing with the Timberwolves. They've got to establish a hierarchy on who's the alpha, who's Batman, who's Robin. And right now, Anthony Edwards, that dude, he's different. He's different. I didn't think he was going to be this good coming out of college. Only played 1 year. I want to say University of Georgia. I didn't think he was going to be this good this fast. Like it's scary watching what he can do on the court. Like, and is it me or is he getting like an inch taller each season. Like Anthony Edwards is a joy to watch play basketball, and Minnesota has finally kind of figured out how to have Gobert and Towns in that mix. Like I said, I do think Minnesota is a shot creator, meaning the guy that can go get their own buckets. That's why you've been hearing rumors of possibly Levine possibly being traded at some point. You know, Minnesota is quote unquote one of those teams in the market. I don't think that's a viable deal, but you know, people are going to talk. But I think Minnesota is a good number two away from being a real serious contender out west. Because right now, to me, the West is Denver. Then you have kind of like everybody else. I'm kind of disappointed by the season Phoenix is having. I know they've suffered injuries. Book's been out for a bit. Beal's been out for extended periods of time, and um, we've yet to really kind of see what that new big three looks like in Phoenix. Yeah, unless those guys are completely healthy and have enough time to kind of play together, I don't see Phoenix being a real serious contender out west. I just don't. I just don't. I don't think, and this is just my personal opinion. I don't think that model of having the three big guys, and I'm talking about contract wise also, but just having three guys like that and just guys is gonna win a championship. You got to be like a transcendent. You're talking about having three guys that are transcendent type players. Um, they can be able to pull that. I think that big three model just it don't work when you think about. Excuse me, y'all. When you think about previous iterations of iterations of the big three that have been successful, you're talking about Miami, LeBron Hall of Fame, D Wade Hall of Fame, Chris Bosh Hall of Fame. Even go to Boston. When Boston had KG, you're talking about Hall of Fame, they have Hall of Fame level talent. Has Bill ever been healthy on a consistent basis? No. Um, you know, but much was made about him coming over from Washington, and Phoenix is going to. I didn't like the fit because when you have a big three like that, you got to have a guy out of that group that's willing to sacrifice for the team. You got to have a guy that's willing to sacrifice for the team. Sacrifice their game. Like I remember Chris Bosh before Miami. When he was in Toronto, you talking about a guy that was clearly the alpha on that team, a consistent 20 and 10 guy at that time. Looked as one of the best players, but you got to sacrifice. You got to give something up for your game. And I didn't like the Beal move coming over because to me it didn't help the team. It didn't address the biggest issues that the team had, which is to get better. Excuse me, get better defensively. Excuse me for a sec, y'all. All right, I'm back. Had to give me a sip of water. Woo. But I didn't think it addressed the team's biggest needs, which was defense. And that's part of the reason why they got a mollywopped in the playoffs by Denver. You can't think you're just gonna go up and down the court and blow teams out and just outscore them. And it just does not work, especially when we're talking about playoff basketball. Bringing Beal over, I didn't like the move. I didn't, and that's just me. Maybe it works out. I don't know, but history has shown me when you have three guys that games are so similar. And guys that you're gonna ask Bill to give something. Book's gonna be Book. KD's gonna be KD, and I just don't see it working. I just don't see it working long term. I think Phoenix went the wrong route. I think you should have invested more in getting better role players to be around your KD and Book. Go the route that Denver did. Denver said, "Hey, Jamal Murray, Jokic are our best players. We're going to find guys that fit with them and put guys around them that fit with them. Bring in an Aaron Gordon draft an MVP, have the bench that they have, make those, have a KCP, bring in those type of guys because that's how today's, you're going to win today's NBA. Big three model don't work. The big three model don't work. But like I said, we'll see. Is rumblings that KD is not happy by what's going on in Phoenix. I'm not sure how true that is. But you can never tell with KD. You can never tell with KD. KD gives off the vibe to me. I don't want to be a front runner. And I've always kind of looked at KD like that ever since he decided to leave Oklahoma City and go join the Golden State Warriors. Just to cash in on the championship. I've never looked at KD as being that alpha dog. I want to follow him to the mountaintop. Nah, I just never looked at him like that. But it's talks that he's not happy. Maybe looking to get be traded. If I'm Phoenix, KD will be 35 this year. If he's not brought into what we're trying to do here in Phoenix, I move off of him. I mean, as this retrieve some of those assets that you gave up to get them. I think you gave up. You gave up the kind of guys you should have been holding on to. Talking about the Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, you should have held on to those guys instead of chasing KD. KD he just don't do it for me, man. He's not that dude. To me, he's not that dude. Hell of a player, great player, one of the greatest players of all time. But I don't want KD to be the leader of my team. I'm good on that. Speaking of teams making moves, my team, the Los Angeles Lakers, have been, kind of middle of the road. They've been playing as well as I expected them to play. The biggest, question in the room for the Lakers, what do you do with D'Angelo Russell? I think you move off D'Angelo. He doesn't fit. He doesn't fit what you guys are trying to do. I like Darvin Ham. I think when D'Angelo was not on the floor, the team plays. I guess a little faster pace, and when he's not on the court, they're a much better defensive team. I'm just saying, calling it out for like it is. D'Angelo, I mean, he's just what's good. I thought he was a steal. I think Vincent is kind of like trying to find his way into the rotation. Like I said, I will move off. If I'm the Lakers, get what I can for D'Angelo Russell, retrieve some of those assets, maybe a first round pick in upcoming draft. Get what you can for D'Angelo, and give because I've seen what Vincent can do when he's given like real serious playing time, and right now he's just not he's just not it. But give Vincent, like I said, I've seen what I need to see from him. He's not an electrifying guard, but I know if you give him enough consistent minutes, he plays good basketball. But it's kind of like a minutes crunch. It's such a thing as having too many guys that need minutes. And I think that's kind of like the Lakers' problem. AD and LeBron are going to be them, but you got to give Austin Reeves his minutes to kind of keep him going. Some of those big men got to get their minutes. You got a crowded backcourt there. Guys need minutes. So if I'm them, I trade D'Angelo, maybe get me a slash and 3, or maybe a good stretch 4. You see what I can get for D'Angelo, because he's likable dude, man, but you're not gonna win a championship with D'Angelo Russell. As your point, man, he's so much of a. I'm having flashbacks thinking about how he got picked on in the playoffs against the Denver Nuggets. I mean, teams just like screen and roll whoever he was guarding, like get him up here at the top and just attack. Now, brother of a certain age, what do you think about the season Luka is having? I'm of the mindset that his stats are fluffed up, and the Mavericks are not that good of a team. I like Luka, I like his game, but I don't think when you look at the stats and people, well, he should be in the MVP conversation. And right now, the MVP conversation is a two-man conversation to me. Anybody else is just in there for fluff pieces. But he's having a hell of a season. But that I don't think that style is going to carry them any deeper than the playoffs than they've already been. And that's just my opinion. But the media they would kill to have Luka in the finals. I'm just gonna be honest with you. How much they gush over him, they would love to have Luka in the finals. I'm not opposed to it. He's a joy to watch, but Dallas is just not that good of a team. And like I said, a lot of his stuff, he takes a lot of bad shots. If you watch Luka play, he takes a lot of bad shots, a lot of step back threes, stat stuffer. Yeah, the other team is missing something. Yeah, it feels like that with the Mavs. Like I, I just like watching the Mavs. Just like, it's like elements missing from like they're okay. I mean, okay offensively, not good defensively. I mean, it hurts when your two top players are not really putting in the effort on the defensive side of the basketball. And Dallas is middle of the pack. I mean, when you watch them play, it's like they don't do anything particularly well. It's not a team that really attacks the basket. Why you find me over here? But yeah, they don't really attack the basket. It's not really a great 3-point shooting team. Like I said, it's not a great defensive team. Just something just seems to be missing. They don't really have a big man type presence. I think you put Luca with a real good. I was like, put Luca with a Jaren Jackson type player, you might have something in Dallas. You might have, if they can find a player of that ilk, of that caliber, you might have something in Dallas. You might have something in Dallas, but I'm just not, I'm not. So I was like, I like to watch them play, but I don't take Dallas serious. But we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the season. I just kind of wanted to just test the waters with this episode here tonight, because I got to get ready for the other stuff. End of the year review, man. Y'all know how they go, man. And I may get banned after tonight's show over there. But let me got to get my behind about it, because I can start finish prepping and all that good stuff, man. But it's always a pleasure. Like I said, we'll test the waters out with this, and then we'll see. We'll see. It may become part of the rotation over here. If not, I don't know. Definitely, we be doing more of this type content after the All-Star break, because that's when I really start locking in. Because by that time, the NFL is kind of wrapped up. So by then, I'll be more locked in. But I just want to kind of test the waters out here with this one. Get my behind up out here. What's going on? What's going on? Yeah, I had to sneak in a NBA Friday show. Like I said, I want to add it to the rotation, but I'm so locked in with the football right now. It's kind of hard for me to catch a lot again, because I'm doing a lot of stuff as far as like the social media spaces, with the the football, and finding out this, finding out that, injury reports. So I just haven't been. I've kept up with it to a degree, but not as locked in. People say still a move, right, man. But yeah, I'll be doing that. Like I said, I just want to kind of test the waters out with this one here tonight. Typically y'all know I do the Freestyle Friday shows over here, but I did want to test out the waters here tonight with this show. And like I said, All-Star break, I'm locked in. You get what we did kind of like last season, a lot of the uploads and a lot of that kind of stuff. Because NBA is a little bit kind of easier to kind of break down, and smaller sample sizes for that kind of stuff. But we'll be doing that closer to the All-Star break. But if I'm not mistaken, you're a Lakers fan, correct? If I'm not mistaken, you can just tell me in the chat. Like, I think you're a Lakers fan. What do you think? If you had to trade, and this is a question I ask Lakers fans. If you have to trade D'Lo, and I think the Lakers do have to trade and move off of him, he's a liability. What do you really try to get for him? I'm of the mindset of either give me a slasher 3 type player, or give me a stretch 4. But if I'm gonna get a slasher type 3 player, give me a guy that can go get his own buckets. Doesn't need LeBron or Austin Reeves to kind of set him up. Give me a guy that can go give me 10 to 15 points a game and doesn't need um, guys to really kind of set him up. Give me a guy that can go create his own shot. If I can get that, I'll be happy of moving off D'Lo. I'm trying to work on something with Legend TMK so Stacey. Most def. Um, most def. Key, I'm sub to you over there. So yeah, let me know what's going on with that. Because I don't know. I don't think he was here for that particular live stream I did. Me and Grown Man and a close associate of mine did the whole Spence Crawford fight, preview, and that we had a good time. Had a good time with that show. So yeah, keep me posted on that. But yeah, give me a 3, or give me a stretch 4. Yeah, if what the thing with Levine, I think Chicago is going to want go for a big I think Chicago's going to want too much for Levine. And they, I think Chicago views Levine as superstar type player. So they're going to want a crazy, no, most def. They're going to want a crazy haul for Levine. Like I would say this before DeRozan signed with Chicago, I thought that should have been the move the Lakers should have made. And I think they, kind of regret not making that move then. But if I can get Levine, if I can give up D'Lo, they probably going to want, one of those first round draft picks down the road, fine, and give up maybe Vanderbilt or one of those extra bigs we got, maybe. Because Levine fits the mold of the kind of player. Like I don't need a guy that needs the ball at that kind of a volume. But give me a guy that can Gator Girl. Yes, I decide you have been missing in action since your Jaguars have been struggling. Now you decide to pop up when we ain't talking about football. You ain't slick. I believe they need to be aggressive. If you're going to trade D'Lo, get what you can for him. But give me a guy that can give me 10 to 15 on his own. I don't need another guy. Nothing against Alani Walker. But give me a guy that, give me 10 to 15 on his own, a spark plug. You don't even have to be a 6-man. But give me a guy that can go get his own points. And if I'm not getting a slasher 3 or 2, if for that matter, give me a stretch 4. I need a guy that can consistently put the ball in the basket. And if it's going to be a guy that can kind of spell either AD or LeBron with minutes through the season, give me that. But I know Gator Girl is going to come in here. Grant from the Blazers. But okay, well, I hope you enjoyed your holidays, Gator Girls. It's all fun over here. Grant from the Blazers. I like Grant. I like his game. I think Jeremy's game fits a lot of teams. I think his game fits a lot of teams. I think his game is able to be mixed and matched with a lot of teams in the league. If I can get a Grant, but I don't see. The thing is, I got to get rid of D'Lo, and I know Portland situation. With the guards they have, those young guards, you don't need a D'Lo unless we can kind of work out a 3-team deal to move D'Lo somewhere else to get a Jeremy Grant. I would be down for that, but I don't think it's plausible. Well, Miles Turner, we could have got him. Do that. They were going to throw him in with that Buddy Hield deal we were trying to pull off a couple seasons ago. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of guys I would love to bring in. But I kind of look at what are my tradable assets right now. With the Lakers, what are my tradable assets and D'Lo? Right now, I mean, some teams may want Hachimura, maybe. But I got to look at D'Lo as my most tradable asset right now, and he's not really drawing a lot of love around the leagues where teams are going to want to come off high quality players. So I mean, give me if I can get a Cam Johnson type player, you know, give me that mode of a player, guy that can kind of go get his own. Now, before I close out the NBA stuff, and I see I got the fans, my sports fans in here. I'm gonna say this. Wembenyama has surprised me by how well he's kind of adjusted to the NBA game. Granted, San Antonio is looked like crap most of the season, but when I watch him play, and I kind of just, um, yeah, Halliburton, yeah, but back to Wemby, his game fits the way the NBA has kind of moved, because the days of really the dominant big man outside, when you take Giannis, Yoke, and Embiid, when you take them out of the equation, and those are in this day and age, those are unicorn guys that can get they shots down in the paint, down below the bucket consistently. When you take them guys out, teams are going to be looking for players with Wemby's kind of skill set. If you think about most of the bigs in this league now, have to be able to step out, shoot threes, have to kind of be able to kind of put the ball on the court. And when you watch Wemby play, I'm like I said, I'm surprised how well his game has adjusted to playing in the NBA. If they can keep him healthy and maybe put about 20 pounds of muscle on him, I mean, he doesn't have to be swole, because the days of having you got to be big to be in the nobody kind of plays that game. That's like I said, outside of those three dudes I'm talking about, and granted, all three of those guys can kind of step out and shoot, with with the exception of Giannis, of course. But I think Wemby's fine. It's not like he's playing against prime Shaq, where you'd be scared, scared to put him on. Like he's guarding guys that maybe have about 20, 30 pounds, but they don't play like it. I mean, nobody plays that hard nosed back to the basket type game anymore. Like, more like like you said, brother, a certain like the zone, like they're not asking him to do too much on the but he's a force even on the defensive end. He's allowed to kind of roam free, because teams don't really play that back to the back. Like, come on, man. Back in the day, they'd have punished Wemby every time down the court. They'd have been calling his number and punishing him and wearing that thin frame out. Give him about 20 pounds of muscle. He'll be fine. He will be fine. But I'm like what I've seen so far. Granted, like I said, the team sucks, but that's to be expected. It ain't no real talent around them that would raise my antenna. Like, oh, these guys must see TV. But he has looked good. He has looked, like I said, that's about the biggest thing that I've kind of taken away from this early part of the season. Granted, we're only 30 games or so in, but how his game has transition to the NBA, it's like it wasn't much of a learning curve. Like he plays to his strengths. But come on, get it. What is going on with Detroit? I mean, that has got to be the saddest thing I can think about in recent memory of a team losing NBA record 20. Was it up to 27? Or was it up to 28? Losing that many straight games in a row. I'm perplexed. It's like when you look at the roster, this is not a team that's going to be pushing for Eastern Conference title no time soon. But to lose that many straight games at this early point of the season, something going on. And I think it's something that's going on off the court that we ain't heard about. It is. I mean, when you look at the talent that they have in Detroit, I'm not saying, about 30 games in, you see the rank. Yeah, I see the rankings. Yeah, I want to say Detroit's only won like 2 games this year. But when I look at, like, when you just look at the roster, Look at the roster. Take the record away. Just look at the roster. This is not a team that should be um, this bad at this point of the season. This bad. You only won 2 games. You're over 30 games in. This bad. I thought maybe Detroit at this point of the season, we're talking about 30, maybe 8-22. I mean, you can't catch guys on a you can't catch teams on an off night. You can't catch teams on a back to back. Like, come on, what's going on? I mean, what is really going on in Detroit? And this, it's a mess, man. It's the mess in Detroit. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do, but it don't look, it don't look good. I hate Monty. I thought Monty would be a good move for them, bringing them in, young team. But I don't know. This team, they look confused. I don't know. Is it the concepts he's trying to put in, the play style he's trying to put in? But when you look at Detroit's roster, like, they shouldn't be this bad. They shouldn't be. I'm not saying they need to be competing in the East for a top 4 seed, but I mean, damn, like, give me like just a tad bit below 500. And Monty's in a tough spot. They brought him over here, and it is. I don't want to, because the first thing they're going to do is get rid of the coach, and that'd be a bad look for him, considering how things kind of ended up at his last stop, man. Like, Detroit, man, it is. I caught what game was that they just played recently. Watched them play against the Nets, man. It's like sometimes they look confused out there. They look confused. Like, it's like you're thinking a light bulb going off. They're gonna get a win, and it just that makes a bonehead to play. It's like, gee, I mean, it's like watching a JV team out there, man. But they don't have JV talent. Like, that's like the crazy part about it. It's not like this. When you compare Detroit's roster to San Antonio's roster, Detroit, in my opinion, has more talent. But you can't tell by the products you see. You can say what you want to say about the Spurs outside of Wemby. It's just a bunch of guys, but they're not out there beating themselves. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, I hate it for Monty too. Because I know, if this continues, if this team hits 30-something straight losses, he's probably out of there. He's probably out of there. Detroit's gonna suck it up, bite the bullet, and pay him whatever they owe him. And I mean, at this point, I mean, what do you do? What do you do? And the head coach is the most viable option. You're not getting rid of some of the guys you got. I mean, even though, like I said, they got talent. I like Ivy. You know what I'm saying? I like the Thompson kid. I like Cade. But like I said, I like the pieces. Some of the pieces they have, but they shouldn't be this bad. But they're not going to get rid of those guys. They're going to get rid of the coach. So, Monty, I would say dust off your resume. Dust off your resume. And speaking of dust off, let me get my behind up out of here, because I got to get ready for my season finale. And I mean, but yeah. So what I'm gonna start doing, of course, Tuesday and Thursday while football is still going, we'll be over here doing that. Probably start mixing in. Like I told you, I said I'm gonna start spending more time over here. Maybe do Fridays for the NBA talk until we really kind of get into it real hardcore after the All-Star break. And I may move the freestyle show to Wednesday. Yeah, I may move it to Wednesday. I'll see. I mean, Brunson's a very good. I guess what I guarantee you, Dallas regrets letting him go, because they had a thing going there with him and Luka, and their games fit together. They regret it. They regret it. Clips, Kings, Magic, of course. Nuggets don't believe. Just watch. Well, you was right on the Kings last year. Magic, I'm liking how they're playing so far. But last season the Magic kind of started kind of strong like that too, and they kind of faded to black. Of course, I know the Nuggets are going to be right there in the thick of it. Kings this season, we'll see. I don't. I think some of the luster's kind of worn off from last season, but they are kind of, in my opinion, kind of a slow start. Clips, we'll see how long that 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 experiment takes. There's already talk of them possibly moving off of Russell Westbrook to kind of bring in some more depth to that team, but we'll see. We'll see. So, like I said, we'll I'll let y'all know the schedule next time I go live over here. So, of course, we'll be back Tuesday. I'm watching the game tomorrow, so I'll be locked in on that to a degree before I have to go do the other show over there tomorrow. So, we'll see, man. We'll see. Um, about to start, get myself settled and kicked up, get my feet up, and really make this space the home. And plus, I got some other stuff I'm working on with a couple other people, man. So I'm in a whole nother space, whole nother genre of YouTube. So yeah, I'm working, man. I'm working. I'm working. I'm working. Well, before I get up out of here, Gator Girl, what's your excuse for how your Jags have been playing? Because you know how I feel about them, but you are a staunch defender of Sunshine and them boys. What say you about how Jacksonville has looked over the past month? Because I know you've been gone, but I know you've been watching. I just want to know that. Yeah, I've been looking for you. It's your Jags to kind of hit a flat. I just want to know. You ain't gotta say nothing right now. But next time I catch you, I'm gonna ask you. Let me get my behind up out of here, man. It's always a pleasure. Hey, always like, share, subscribe, man. Appreciate y'all taking the time out to listen to little old me on whatever night that is, man. It's always appreciated around here. Um, Yeah, brother, of a certain age with the anime content, we're not going to try to talk over people's heads because I mean it's so much, so many different kind of pieces of content. We're going to try to keep it to like the main core, more popular type stuff. We're not going to have people going to research stuff that nobody's reading, but like that individual person. So like we'll make it. I mean that's a collab project with the um good brother Slander. I think Germ is in. Germ is in on it. I'm just kind of working out a schedule with that. So yeah, we're not gonna try to talk over people's heads too much. Um, I mean, but we like to talk about different stuff, and you get a taste of that on Saturday, and when we roll that out, you be getting a taste of that on a whole nother day. So yeah, we working, man. We working. But let me get my behind up out here, man, because I got to finish prepping for my finale over there. End of the year, y'all know how they go, and this might be what I got in store. It might piss some people off, man. But I feel like I got to do what I got to do. But anyway, um, thank y'all for taking the time to listen to me. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Enjoy out for the phrase to pays over here. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but every time you learn. And I'm out.